That's a Shame is brought to you by the people who support us over at patreon.com/shamecity.
If you have $1,
$2.
$1 to spare, join us again at patreon.com/shamecity. Please.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 132 of That's a Shame.
Wow.
I'm
goodness me.
very enthusiastic.
Are you in the Ian McKellen spirit?
Episode 132.
How was it?
I haven't seen it yet, so on
I
Monday.
thought that was yesterday.
No.
Oh, you
Yes, I
went to the cinema yesterday?
To see How to Train Your Dragon 3,
No.
which is not really
That's basically the same
tonally
thing, yeah.
similar to Ian. I'm going to see Ian McKellen's one-man show on Monday. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I'll give you all a great big update. I'm Isaac, by the way.
What would you do if you turned up, Isaac?
Uh-huh.
And I asked this as Declan.
Yeah.
And he did
came
a song
out.
from Hamilton.
I'm Alexander Hamilton. You! I would cry good tears, good amount of tears.
Okay.
No, I've already heard that there are no songs from Hamilton. I've heard that he just does monologues from whenever he fancies and that basically there's no script for the show.
Good.
He just sort of wanders around doing what he wants, pulling people out of the audience to make them come and look at his Gandalf sword in a non-euphemistic manner, absolutely. So I'll tell you how it is. It will be my third or fourth time seeing Sir Ian on the stage. We go way back. I remember
course, yeah.
when I went to see King Lear in secondary school and he got his dick out, quite frankly, in the storm scene.
Our friend,
Very unexpected.
Our friend and sometime listener of the show,
Oh, yeah.
Freddie.
Oh, yes, I remember him.
He once met Sir Ian McKellen. Sir Ian McKellen came to a sort of dinner that they were having at his
Great big theatre.
great big private school.
Ah, yes, yes.
And they were all supposed to have rehearsed kind of poems and whatnot
Wow,
for it.
that's a weird thing to do in front of someone who's much better at doing poems and such.
Especially given that apparently dear old Fred totally fucked it.
Oh, no.
I know.
In what sense? Just
totally
flubbed his lines?
Flubbed his lines, forgot it all.
And Ian left.
garbled.
Ian spat
Sir
on
Ian
the plate.
actually said to him,
I'm renouncing theatre forever.
"Don't follow your dreams," he said, and then just left. Gave him the cold shoulder.
That's
for the
good.
rest of
I
the
can
night.
imagine him doing that. He's a canny chap, is Sir Ian. God bless
he's
his
good.
soul. Anyway, we're back for another great big episode of That's a Shame. Last one was very successful, wasn't it?
It's lovely.
Listened
I thought
back,
it was
I
great.
sounded very, very hungover. And I was.
You were.
Oh,
Bless
that's for
you,
sure.
You were.
This week-
I sounded a lot
You
more
did sound quite hungover, yeah.
than is really fair for someone who wasn't
Let's
drinking.
remind ourselves, blood
Let's
alcohol
not.
content of none. Fun content
Wow.
of also
Of.
none. This week, however, we're going more highbrow than these petty DJ squabbles that we've discussed in the mire of episode 131.
Goodness, yes.
It's a show that the muses themselves would venerate. Dare I say celebrate.
Some listeners may be thinking, oh, hang on a minute, is this one of the 10 features listed in the last episode about features? And to those listeners, we say, you are small-minded. You've got to dream big.
Yeah.
Those features, they're just but a drop in the creative ocean that is the Shame City universe.
A good drop. Like a drop of a very flavourful cordial. Perhaps a lime or an elderflower.
Now, did you, as we discussed, come up with a name for this feature?
Feature, no, I didn't.
Because
even
that's good,
slightly,
because I
actually.
came up with the best one possible.
Okay, go on.
there's we're going to call it Shameverse City.
Shameverse City, okay, like Jackbox 5's
Like
Madverse City,
exactly.
where the robots rap with
But it's
text-to-speech.
Shame City,
And you've just
but we've dropped verse
interpolated verse between the
in
Shame
there.
and City. That's
Because,
clever.
why is that relevant?
It's because today's task...
Bible readings.
Today's feature is heavily gospel-based. No, we've decided to pick a feature based in our natural poetic instincts, which you'll have noticed in every word we say.
Obviously.
They don't always rhyme, but they're always ripe with imagery.
Naturally.
Not always the kind that you want in your head.
Not even the kind that Isaac will allow even seconds after the words leave his very lips.
But what can you do? And today we have decided to transform works of art that it pre-exist us, and that exist separately to the Shameverse, the Shame City verse, whatever the fuck you called it. And we have turned them into poems in order to facilitate a kind of guessing game, but mostly just to think about how you can take stupid things and turn them into something dumber than ever before. We've picked the following 5 categories. We've got a film each, a TV show each, a game each. Now that's a video game, a music song, and last but not least, one of those big papery books that you've heard so much about.
I was tempted when we were coming up with this feature, by which I mean when I came up with this feature, to have us choose a poem as well. And just write it as another poem. Just because I want to hear you do like Keats as a limerick.
I would have picked something like Beowulf and done it as the shortest haiku it's possible to do.
That would be amazing. Imagine, like, you pretty much could say Beowulf in 15 syllables. Or
yeah, I'd say so. I'm not going to try
17 syllables, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite long and boring, Beowulf.
Does drag in the beginning, middle, and indeed the end. Much like similar literature of its time. So how are we going to do it? Obviously, we're going to alternate.
We're going to alternate. I reckon, only you know your poems and only I know mine thus far.
Actually, I've published mine on Wattpad, where they've been graciously received.
So I think we should alternate, but
in any order.
Spice up in any order, however you fancy delivering.
Okay, I can see that being effective. Would you like to kick us off as the feature inaugurator?
I'll kick us off. I'm going to
guess along at home, listeners.
I'm going to go with. We'll start easy.
Yep. Okay.
Hopefully, and we'll start with a short one. This is my song one.
Okay.
Okay.
Over to you, Declan.
This song was a hit all over the globe, and even a hit up in York. But whenever a white person tried out the dance, they'd always just look like a dork. It was so overplayed you could hear it all day, and you'd honestly rather they bin it. And Man Max the DJ had put up a sign saying no more than once 30 minutes. It lived a good life and it died a good death, as I have not even heard it in years. It was good for a laugh, but I'm glad that it's gone and no longer cursing my ears.
Is it Psy's Gangnam Style?
It is Psy's Gangnam Style.
Oh, I knew it.
That is my first abiding memory of Willow.
What?
Is going
sign?
in during Freshers Week and there being that big paper sign on the DJ with
no
saying
more than once.
And the best thing about it was that it didn't specify Gangnam Style. It just said no song will be played if it's been played in the last 30 minutes.
Which is a very short turnaround.
30 minutes on the dot every time.
Auto played. It just interrupted another song with that.
Yeah. Which, when you think that, the Big Chill DJ wouldn't play having played it 2.5 hours ago.
Weird. He's probably lying about that as well in hindsight.
Almost 100%.
I think I've thought about it and I don't think he knows what that is. I think that was
what by Usher?
He's never heard of it and he was trying to protect it.
Oh, no.
I was like, no, I'm not playing that lowbrow shit. He'd never heard of it. He was Googling it.
He didn't know that it was actually the best song in the whole world.
Very foolish. Well, that was nice. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go first with one that is, it's the film, and it's a film that we both know well. I've gone for a style. When I was writing these poems, I really tried to get in the headspace of the work of art itself.
That's what you've got to do, isn't it?
Think, what would this film want to be if it were a poem? You've got to just listen to that quiet little voice screaming, a sort of shit, racist meter children's book poem. And who am I to stand in the way of
And would
art?
you believe it? All of your pieces you chose today
Very
were
strange.
Yelling that.
Actually, no. I've gone for a different style for each. And this is the only one I can confirm in racist meter, which I do feel we should clarify every time we bring it up because it's always a couple of episodes apart, like 10 or something, is based on the fact that when we used to browse Stormfront, the white supremacist forum,
we should
for
clarify
Declan's leisure.
that we used to browse only the poetry forum.
The poetry forum to find out what sort of racist poems were being written that week. They're all written in that da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba-da-bum, ba-dum. This very upbeat, Gruffalo meter.
We still haven't done a deep dive on that, and I think that
it's because it's so outlandishly offensive.
It is.
But there are some that are, not, because there are ones like the immortal, infamous line is, Hitler knew just what to do. He wouldn't put up with the tricky Jew, which is one of the worst sentiments expressed in one of the worst couplets.
I still think
ever written.
that we need to do a thorough breakdown of A World Without Whites.
Yeah.
Which is the single greatest, by which I mean stupidest concept poem of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all written in a very kind of upbeat year two,
juxtaposed
jolly
against this horrid racism.
Yeah.
Is this very sing-song vibe. Here's mine. I've titled it the name of the film, which I won't be giving away at this juncture.
No, that's
for
fine.
fear of ruining the game.
Yeah.
Before it even starts.
I've written the original work above each of mine, and I am so sure that I'm going to say it at least twice.
Here's my one, The Shining. Once upon a time in a fairy tale land, an old pro gave his apprentice a hand. He sent him away on a train safe and sound, but before he could start a new life, he was found. A whole lot of action was soon to ensue, and the crestfallen pro took a stumble or two. It's hard to be certain, but from what we can tell, our hero is stuck betwixt heaven and hell. The moral is simple, the takeaways few. To prevent the same sort of thing happening to you, keep yourself to yourself, mind your manners, stay mild, and for fuck's sake, check if it's dwarf or a child.
What are you on about?
Do you not know?
No.
There are so many clues. My poetry is so layered with these clues that
I'm
when you find
certain.
out, you'll be like, wow.
I think it's the last line that's thrown me.
Oh, really? Because the last line is the most obvious reference.
Yeah, I know, and I feel that that's the case, and yet
I've never seen such a grasping look in your
because I'm
eyes.
sure that I know it, but I'm just very worried. I'm sure that no film should have that takeaway. What in the name of God are you?
Let me just highlight some things for you. Fairy tale land.
Yeah.
Crestfallen pro. Now that's a pun that I'm using there. Took a stumble or two. It's actually a double pun, referring to a very important part of the film. Stuck between heaven and hell. That's also thematically very relevant. And then I'll just give you the last stanza again because I know it lands. The moral is simple. It's really simple.
The takeaway's few.
To prevent the same sort of thing happening to you, keep yourself to yourself, mind your manners, stay mild, and for fuck's sake, check if it's a dwarf or a child.
Is it in Bruges?
Yes, it's in Bruges. Why did you not get it? Fairy tale, falling down, heaven and hell.
Because when you got to, I was like fairy tale, then I was like, okay, that won't be literal. And then I kind of got like stuck, and I was thinking, like heaven and hell, and I think I was sort of veering towards something in that era. But then when you said dwarf or a child, I was like, hang on a minute, is fairy tale literal? Is this some sort of...
Well, that's what's so clever about it.
Was there a train in Snow White that I missed?
Yeah. So I think you'd accept that was a very clever poem.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, that's good. Yours was as well.
You'll be submitting it for various...
All sorts of
awards,
prizes.
yeah.
I'm expecting to be laureate within the month.
I'm going to go ahead now.
Yep.
And I'm going to give you...
Okay. What have we got left? What did you do first?
I did song.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that I'm going to do TV show.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay. He sits and waits with patience, silence, mirth, a watchful presence keen to roam the earth. As soon as backs are turned and eyes are closed, his statuary life can be disposed for one of heady days and dizzy nights, of urban pleasures, treasures and delights. A hero, yes, a saviour bold and true, who'd gladly risk his life for me or you, whose conquests seek to aid the common man by spreading love and fumes where'er he can.
Fumes?
He's played with fire and caught the king of thieves, with many a motoring trick kept up his sleeves. Dan just messaged me. And stopped a rickshaw running quite amuck. Fuck off, Dange! With skills and just a little dab of luck. His many rescues tell his heart is pure, and do suggest a hero's soul for sure. But as he slinks away to restful sleep, a single eyelight opens just a peep in something reminiscent of a wink that surely now must give us pause to think that maybe hidden motor motives lie in wait inside this automotive guy.
This Automotive Guy by Declan Delane. Next up on Radio 4.
This automotive life.
So just to clarify, those bits where the narrator, it's like a third person poem, where the narrator starts shouting about this character Dange, that's those interstitial moments, that's to reflect
That's
like a fractured psyche.
Yeah, and something of the broken Britain, something seeping out through
So it's
the
like
cracks.
a car that's probably seen better days.
Oh, definitely.
Crashing.
Yeah.
All I can think about, initially, I mean, this superhero vibe was making me think of like Batman, Daredevil. I was going down all the Marvel adaptations.
They are in some way derivative of this source
property.
material. Yeah.
Then the car angle came in and hit me like a ton of bricks. Not
Like a car?
actually,
No, okay, not
interestingly.
like a car.
Quite a different qualitative experience on my end. And it was there that I started to think, what cars are there? Who are some of the famous cars in televisual fiction? We've got Brum. Mm-hmm. We've got Spid.
We've got Spid.
And they were really where I ran out.
Spid didn't do an awful lot of rescuing.
No, very, very little.
Spid didn't ever come up against the King of Thieves.
The King of Thieves himself. I'm afraid it's going to be a pass from me.
It was Brum.
It was Brum.
It was Brum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for alerting me.
Well, you didn't guess it. You can't just throw out multiples
I
and
see
hope
how
that
it
I'm
is.
going to tell you. No, it was Brum.
Okay.
Yeah.
He fights the King of Thieves.
Yeah, there's an episode called Brum and the King of Thieves
Right. The King of all the thieves, not just
Yep,
in Brum's
no, and then-
little sad town.
of Birmingham.
That's the one.
It's just in the show, even though it's set in Birmingham and he's called Brum, and they use all of like the major landscapes, like moments in Birmingham, it's just called Big City.
Wow.
Brum goes to Big City.
Were they afraid that Birmingham would hate Brum so much that they'd just
Possibly.
sue him into
What I love, I mean, we
car
spoke
dust?
about Brum previously on the show.
For those who don't know, he's a stupid little car.
Yeah, very, very small and horrid. But they did 4 series of it over the span of 13 years.
Wow.
They started
Took
in
so long on each
91.
script.
I know. And then like they finished in 94. Oh, in 2004, sorry.
That's a mad
It's just
amount.
mad that, that every sort of 3 years they were like, oh, well, probably knock out a bit of Brum.
Yeah. I wonder how much he got paid for Brum, because it should be none at all. Was there a Brum film?
Probably, yeah.
If
I think
not,
they're actually.
that's probably something
Is that
that we
something we
could
should?
dive
Okay,
into.
we'll knock that out. About
I'm
10
going to
minutes.
go from television to the literary arts. The book, the paper-filled treasure trove, wherein little ink words suggest images to your mind. I've gone for another classic poetic form here, having just done, of course, the like fairy tale vibe.
Yep.
I'm going for the acrostic here.
Oh.
It's a favourite of, I think it was Wordsworth who invented the acrostic.
School children.
Yeah. Oh, them as well.
Yeah,
but only
sorry.
because of the lineage of the great Romantic poets.
Autumn. Harvest.
Wandered like a big cloud. Very long one. That. Here is my book in just the 4 lines. B is for bad, which this book sure is. O is for obviously a prick, which the author's photo reminds us is definitely the case. O is also for, oh, for fuck's sake, why does everyone famous for some unconnected reason think they can inflict their dumb fucking books on the world? An appropriate sentiment. And K is for, kill that bad idiot book before he pens another.
Wow. Well, there were a few that I was tossing up in my mind. There's lots to deconstruct there. Author's photo.
Yeah.
That could be any author's photo in the world.
Yeah, because even back before photography, they still used to do a little scribble.
Yeah,
and we just call that.
And
a
they all
photo.
looked like cunts then as well.
Absolutely.
Any pseudo celebrity, they've all written a book now. ghost written or otherwise.
Mostly that.
But then that last bit, that
There was
double
a hint.
entendre.
Yeah, there was a hint.
How have you written that? Is that
I don't want to say. Let me
You don't
just
wanna
say
give-
there's more N's than you'd think.
you don't want to give the game away?
And more of a capital letter than
Yeah.
you'd ever see coming.
I'm going to go with, is that Sean Penn's inaugural novel, Bob Honey Who Just Do Stuff?
It is. That's all
Coming soon to a podcast near you.
15 points to Hufflepuff.
Wow, that was deep. And I think that the sort of, dare I say, the simplistic nature of the very fundamentalist style that you chose, probably a reflection of the stupid, uneducated, and frankly
the dumb prose.
Yeah, very stupid.
The idiot words that he scrawled,
printed, scribbled,
sold,
scribble-inked onto
made lots
onto
of
the
money.
page.
No doubt,
That's a real shame.
really is.
I think I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to head over to the literary arts.
The book world.
I've taken a slightly different tack in terms of style, but equally childish, but more to represent the kind of innocence and childishness of both the books and of our hero. Okay. So here we go.
Okay, I'm going to listen intently.
You really won't have to, because it's the most obvious one from the first line.
Here I go.
There once was a boy with a scar, whose prophecy said he'd go far.
Yep.
But in order to live, he had best kill this div who had murdered his mom and papa. Having lost most of those he held dear, the path for our boy was unclear. But he found an old book and he had a quick look and watched as some writing appeared. Now, in the background to all of this madness is the tale of a half-giant's sadness, who, accused of a crime, ended up doing time just because of his love of arachnids. To be brief,
Love of arachnids.
there's a snake in the walls, and there's kids scared all stiff in the halls. There's a hero or three and a violent tree and a teacher whose ethics appalls. Using cunning and tactics and stealth, he defeated the snake by himself, with the help of a bird and the odd magic word and a mischievous pedo-eyed elf.
A
A mischievous pedo-eyed elf.
The eyes of a pedo.
Of a paedophile / paedophile elf.
It's the Bible.
It's the now
The great story.
I'm gonna have to ask you to narrow that down to which book of the. I couldn't dare be so broad.
Okay, no, that's fair. So let me just run through. I
mean,
boy with a scar. That's
Yeah.
making me think Old Testament.
You're right. Yeah.
Snake in the walls.
Now, I'm not going to be so.
I don't know if that's literal.
I'm not going to be so obvious as to go for Genesis.
No.
I wouldn't insult your intelligence.
And there were no walls in the Garden of Eden.
No.
Just a big sort of
Just a tree.
fence like between on
It's
the
a
Gaza
chain
Strip.
link fence.
Snake in the walls I'm going to take to mean it's like when Woody says there's a snake in my boot. He doesn't literally mean it. What he means
I
is
think he does.
my
'Cause
foot
there's that
hurts.
piece of memorabilia where there's a snake.
That's just a metaphorical thing though.
Oh,
because when you
sorry.
say there's a snake in my boot, it's like there's a hole in my bucket. There's a wrench in the spanner works.
Right, but there's a hole in my bucket was a very, very literal poem about a hole in a bucket.
Again, I think you've read it. You've taken it at face value, and that's understandable. You probably read it when you were maybe 15. So for me, snake in the walls refers to a feeling that we all get when you wake up. It's a Tuesday.
And you're
like,
reading the homophobic rules of Leviticus.
and you're like, there's a snake in these walls.
Let me tell you.
And then you don't ever explain what you mean by that, but you don't need to because everyone gets it.
Because the listenership, because everyone is,
everyone's on board. It's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
It was.
I was bluffing.
Oh,
I
I
know.
thought I had you.
Yeah.
I thought I had you going with that Bible chat. No, you saw right through me.
I did. What brought that to mind? Because I'm just about to start reading it, having finished the first one.
That was
powering through.
That was part of why I thought I'd choose it.
Nice.
And then also I just wanted to get some Dobby libel in there.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of Dobbus.
I
That's his full name.
I enjoy him at a distance.
Well, of course, you're not too close.
A hero, no doubt.
Uh-huh.
But he frankly is a sex pest,
It's-
and his methods in the Chamber of Secrets are
Annoying.
not just annoying, but I think actively detrimental to the cause.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
You don't think dropping a big cake on Aunt Marge's head or whatever she's called is the way to go?
No, I don't.
Fair.
I think
fair.
wasn't she the wife of some guy who was a big drill
I
contractor
expect so.
for Grunning's drills.
It's weird as well. I haven't, like I said, started the reread yet, but I do remember that book quite vividly. It used to upset me a bit, the whole concept of a snake in the walls.
Yeah.
It's quite spooky. And I remember the film as well. And
Hence you keep waking up.
yeah,
thinking it.
absolutely. It's stood out to me that J.K. Rowling, or Rowling, however you'd like to say it, never goes into too much detail about how obviously and abhorrently Dobby stinks to high hell. It's never actually mentioned, but strongly kind of implied.
You get the feeling that, he never moved on from this era of you just shit all over yourself and then snap it away.
Yeah. And that's always concerned me because
he does wear that horrid shit-stained rag.
Yeah, absolutely. And no socks, which is just
And then
vile,
just the one sock.
which is even somehow worse.
Yeah. That shot of the sock in the book.
Yeah. That shot of it in the book.
Yeah, like
It's very mixed media.
because it's inside the diary, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like
yeah.
he hands like
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah. He does a great big trick on Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah. But when he opens it up and there's that sock, it is the single most horrid. Like
actually worse than
Harry
Voldemort.
didn't give him a good sock. Like Harry found his worst sock.
What are you expecting him to do? He's not like going to give his
No,
best
but everyone
sock to
thinks
Dobby.
he's so nice, but really he just gave, and he only gave him one. Well, what fucking good is that to him? He hasn't even got a clean rag to wear.
Harry's only ever seen Dobby from the side on. He thinks he's a great big one-legged.
What shape do you think Dobby's body is underneath that? Because I think it's the exact size and shape of the rag. Like it's so unfathomably square.
Oh, really?
Underneath.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's a sort of bumpy, lumpy affair. I think he's got the consistency of like a bag of flour. Do you remember those horrid things that they would sell on the street?
I remember
Plastic covered they are, and there's flour
Yeah.
inside, and you could mould them into a face, and then eventually they'd explode in a puff of disappointment. But the feeling of that flour moving around inside them,
All
haunts
gravelly
me
and
to this
sticky.
day. Filthy. I'm going back to TV now. We watch some TV. We've got a TV just here,
There
and
it's on.
I was gonna
No
do,
reason for it to be on. We just like
it's the art.
the graceless
Chromecast
use of
art.
electricity.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to do one of these images because we get to see the Chromecast kind of cycling through some of the stock images. There's that hummingbird one.
Love that one.
But I consulted the dictionary, and apparently it doesn't count as a show.
As a show.
So instead I've gone for something a little more traditional.
Okay.
The style for this one is inspired by a very 2019 approach to poetry. It's basically an elongated Instagram poem.
Very
that's very, very thematically relevant to what I'm describing. Because again, I let the piece speak through me.
good. For you.
Yeah, I am but a vessel for the words that are about to follow. Here's my TV poem called The Thing That I'm Describing. There's too much of it. That would be my first and most heartfelt complaint. You can't keep up with it all, and it's easier not to bother in the first place. The eye contact's a bit intense. I've always preferred the kind of push and pull of looking back and forth. Less pressure to pretend that way. Less sense of being judged for inaction. For living large while others dwindle into dust. Relative comfort aside, it's the routine of it that wears away my enamel the most, like acid on an ice cream cone. Too much of it to care about, and all of it the same. 500 dead, the same. Cure for some disease, the same. New kind of frog sweeps the nation. Same, same, same. And now the weather. The end. So that poem was obviously very good.
It was exceptional. Have you got a little like line drawing to go with? I know that you're a visual artist as well.
I
know the
haven't
listeners.
yet finalised what that's going
Okay.
to be, but it's in. I've got a few concepts.
I suppose it doesn't really count as a poem until you've got that, but for what it is, it's certainly passable. Yes.
I put in lots of line spaces between just random bits. I don't know.
Well,
if
yeah,
that
you want
read.
like little because that is that kind of enjambment
Ooh.
That is
Okay, French.
That is the sign of good poetry.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you picked up on that. Did that read when I was
Yeah, well, you kept doing this
was doing
jabbing
a slice,
hand motion.
to indicate that I was slicing?
I thought maybe it was like you were doing Hong Kong Phooey.
No,
and
no.
just giving me a
'Cause
little
that's not on air anymore
visual
because it was
clip.
too racist to be allowed.
So flagrantly
Hanna-Barbera
offensive
have been sued
to
into the
every
ground.
race and species.
Got any guesses then?
Well, you see, when you were talking about, there's too much of it and it's all the same.
And the
I was
acid on an
thinking-
ice cream cone.
I was thinking it's going to be a soap. It's probably like EastEnders. And then you were like 500 dead.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Very
could
rarely
be.
happens. That's a Christmas special if ever
Tell
I
you
saw
what,
one.
Walford population diminished by 15%. And then there was something about frogs.
Yeah.
And I was thinking,
That was a new kind of frog sweeps the nation.
yeah. And I was thinking, could be some sort of Bill Oddie feature. But then again, like very rarely 500. He's only done the one genocide, Bill Oddie. I think at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's got to be the news, isn't it?
It's the news.
It's the news.
Yes, well done. Yeah, it's the news. Not any news in particular, because I'm here to lampoon the news as a concept, and that's pretty cool. Because a lesser poet would have been like BBC
Don't
News
like
at
Trevor
6,
McDonald.
and that's lazy and that's narrow in its scope. I've taken down the whole establishment, the whole concept of current affairs.
Plus, you don't want to single out Hugh Edwards because he's
I never would.
thirst trap.
Never would. Never would.
I'm going to be the first to venture into the world of the video games.
Ooh, pretty digital.
Now, again, this is one that is sort of far less structured than my previous offerings, which is in part an ironic take.
Okay.
And in part is due to the fractal and panicked nature that I feel exudes from the piece.
Okay.
And so here it is, if you will.
Thank you.
That's right. A barren cave, dark and still. A single hero enters, tall and strong, just the man for the job. He moves at pace and comes to rest, but he's not alone for long. What follows is procession, a cavalcade of characters cut like glass, bright like crystal, following in line, an army against darkness, ranks built from broken souls whose stark edges click to form a greater whole. But here, a new man enters, bent doubling back to find an inch of space. A quick twist in a last-ditch pitch to cut some room, to fold his gut to fit the final inch. A panicked flip that sees him trip and tumble onto the heads of his comrades, scraping the roof, smashing the ceiling to bring the whole cave crumbling down around them. A lesson in the power of one man's folly, or how the earth may be slave to a single brick.
Wow. Very moving piece.
Thank you.
I forgot it was about a game until just now. So I've really been thinking through it the wrong lens.
I don't remember any of this in Lolita.
Very strange. What a TV show that must be. Some images that stand out to me. This old man bent doubled over. Very cool, because you don't see a lot of that representation in the video game space.
No.
Everyone's like, oh, I've got the physique of an army man.
And I definitely am progressive in that sense. But before you lavish too much praise,
Okay.
I don't want you to take the old bent double man image too literally,
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate.
because I don't want this to get done.
Right,
done for
fair,
that.
fair. I'm thinking I'm going to try and process of elimination this through things that it can't be. And things that it can't be is tic-tac-toe, for example.
It's not tic-tac-toe.
Fitness boxing on the Switch.
No,
Unlikely.
it's not that, nor any of the Wii Fit games.
Oh, okay. That puts me on rather the back foot there. Wii Sports, again,
No,
we're ruling
no.
that out. Mario Kart, I didn't get a sense of any driving. There was very little motion,
No,
but wasn't
I only do one motor-based per
that's good.
year.
That's really good, actually, because you don't want to become typecast.
You don't
in
want
that
to
way.
be... It's such an oversaturated market.
It really is, yeah. I'm glad you've been bold enough to point that out, because it's something we're all thinking.
Thank you.
Here in the poetry space.
More obviously.
I got a sense of of battle, but also a real sense of architecture. Like there was an obsession with place and with geographical context inside a somehow debilitated environment that was crumbling around beside you. That made me think in the vein of games like Snipper Clips, where the environment falls apart, Angry Birds, where environment plays a part in deconstructing the narrative within. But ultimately, I'm without a certainty. And so
you were sniffing in the right direction in the sense of architecture, in the sense of building something.
Building games.
In the sense of building something, but about, the way in which things have to fall in line.
Is it Tetris?
It's Tetris!
Oh, it's Tetris.
Of course.
Oh, very good.
So, yeah, I don't want to...
Who's the old man then? Is he the square?
No, he's the, one that's an L shape because he's bent
down
double.
L.
Yeah.
Oh!
He's like bent over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is basically representation.
It's weird that there's never been a
elderly.
Tetris film with each of the blocks represented by a person of that shape. Because you could get our friend from university who's a square. I say friend. To play that, that key element.
Yeah.
Very tall, thin person for the line. What other shapes we've got? Oh, that one that's a T. That would be quite challenging. You have to get someone with a lot of wingspan and not a lot of head.
And not a lot of height.
The widest, shortest man alive.
Some sort of Mr. Tickle looking freak.
Sounds really cool. I'm going to go with my game as well. This one, for me, the form here is quite different from everything else I've done. You'll appreciate the variety, I'm sure.
Of course. I think, we're not ones to be self-congratulatory, but already the breadth of form across this has
outlandish,
inspiring.
Yeah,
You're right.
It really is. For this one, I've looked back in time, cast my mind back to some of the earliest forms
poor
of writing.
days.
Yeah, the poor old days with no cameras and phones. To think, what were they doing back then for entertainment? How did they make the hours pass between sleeping in a cave, getting up in a cave,
Diphtheria.
scribbling on the wall about a different mammoth that you saw that day? And obviously it was through riddles. Language was invented only as a vehicle to pass on the riddle. Yeah. Because when you've got a concept so true, so pure and so singular in mind, the only thing left to do is see if someone else can guess it. And that's what I've done here. It's a short poem, sure, but each line poses quite the challenge. You may need a pad of paper to even begin decoding the mess I have for you.
And this is your game, is it?
This is my game.
Okay.
My first is in Peanut, but not in Quebec. My second's the first all Canadians sing. My third's in Vancouver and also in Neck. My fourth is quite silent if Noring's your thing. And that's the end. One thing I will point out is that there's not too much to be said for the Canadian angle. And in fact, that is coincidental that three of the lines
What
are
was
about
the first
Canada.
line?
My first is in Peanut, but not in Quebec.
Well, obviously, your game is Pong.
It's Pong! Congrats! Well done.
Oh, goodness.
I was hoping, after having written that, I'll be honest, a frenzy of creativity. I was Googling wildly to see if there was even one relationship between Pong and Canada. And there's none.
They don't even play it there.
Yeah,
never did.
They actually call it something completely different.
Do they?
Digitenix. No, they don't. Oh. But I thought I'd throw in the Canadian angle because it's something of a curveball.
And a good riddle should give you a little red herring in that vein.
No, but I'm using curveball because it's like in Pong when you use a curve.
Can you do a curveball in Pong?
Not strictly speaking, because
isn't
they
that
didn't have
more of
curves back in those
like
days.
a baseball thing rather than tennis?
I don't want criticism ever. Not just for this poem, but for anything I do. So on we come to your final poem.
I'm going to ask to hold off because my final I'll read it last because it's quite long and very obvious.
Okay, fair enough. Then that brings me to my final, which is what even is it for? A song.
Oh,
this is a poem that's close to my heart.
About Come On Eileen.
This poem about Reach by Steps is really I think that's clever actually, was it? Reach for
yeah.
the stars. S Club, yeah. Sorry to anyone from S Club who's listening. I would never do that on purpose. You're one of the first albums I ever owned. This is a poem that's close to my heart, and to yours as well. And I want you to think about that as you're experiencing the multi-sensory environment that I'm going to create for you with my mouth words. Just to give you a sense of the writing process, there really was none, and the poem just happened. It just was. There was a moment when it
you
was
just
not.
pasted the lyrics
And a moment
into
when
your
there
Google
was.
Keep.
Baby, baby, baby. I was like... The meter for this one is complicated, and that will mirror the complication at the core of this poem, which is one that I know you have felt quite deeply. I haven't performed it before, and it is a performance piece.
Okay.
So I trust you'll bear with me as I learn the ropes.
Would you rather that I look away?
You can look wherever you like, because I'm unfazed.
Okay.
I'm unfazed.
Will you be standing?
I will. On the
Okay.
chair. No, actually, I won't. My back hurts. I slept funny. Here's my poem, which is again called the name of the song that you have to guess. I'm sorry, she said, but I'm not sure she meant it. I'd sent it, the feedback I mean, and yet still, though I tried to reword it, made sure that she'd heard it, she just wouldn't listen or play it until I crept up one night. It was dark. There was silence. Now, violence, you know, is not my cup of tea, but she'd pushed and she'd pushed. I could stand it no more, and I crawled on the floor so that she wouldn't see. Her 4 eyes were lidless, were gazing straight up, unsleeping, unblinking, and smug as can be. I brought me a hammer, all shiny and thick. Do it quick, was my thinking, before she gets me. I woke 2 weeks later, all bandaged and blue. My limbs had been shattered, my bones had been set. I knew she'd be waiting to see the thing through. Hey Google, forgive me. I can't do that just yet.
Shall I still play that on the TV?
No!
No problem.
And that's-
Please Forgive Me by Brian Adams.
No! You've not even done the right song, Google. So that's a kind of performance element where Google and I have worked it out in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really good.
That was very...
really good.
yeah.
You're looking for the word excellent.
Yeah.
Perhaps,
yeah. Sure.
Complicated, layered,
Yeah.
characteristically challenging, I would say.
I think so. I'm sort of at a loss as to what it could be. I'm
going to chuck out some clues.
I don't know many songs that we both know that are about a man trying to murder someone with a hammer.
Is it someone, though, or is it something? Her 4 eyes were lidless, were gazing straight up. Is that redolent, perhaps, of any devices?
I thought it was just someone wearing glasses.
Why would I specify that her glasses were lidless?
Look, I'm just saying.
She had unblinking glasses. I'll give you a hint. The poem's all about this Google Mini in our very environment now as we record.
I was thinking at the end when you did that maybe you were trying to mock me quite flagrantly.
That would be odd.
By who'd have thought? With a reference to the fact that we mentioned last week that Google abjectly refuses to play certain songs, but you wouldn't write a whole poem.
No, that would be
about that.
That'd be a lot of effort.
So it's probably an actual.
What one would it
it's
be?
Probably
though,
about an actual.
If you
well, no,
guess
it'd be
one
about
of
the folly of wisdom.
Yes,
No,
it's the folly of wisdom.
You
Google's nemesis that she just will not play. So you were actually the protagonist in this poem.
with the hammer.
With the hammer all shiny and thick, which I know is how you prefer a tool.
Now, in this poem, did Google beat me up, or did you beat me up for trying to kill Google?
It's really ambiguous. Some initial verses had you actually killing Google, and Google piecing itself back together like a kind of Sorcerer's Apprentice thing. There was a lovely moment with all these wires and shards becoming entangled in your skin. And then you did die. Whereas in this one, it's unclear. I mean, for me, you're definitely dead.
Did die, yeah.
But to some, wrong readers, they might see it as
a hopeful poem.
yeah, where Google's
redemption.
like, I can't do that just yet, which is what Google often says if the functionality doesn't exist. Maybe suggesting that one day that will be possible because of the feedback that you send.
Should we just see? Should we just give it a
Do a
test
little
live
test.
on it? Hey Google, play the song "The Folly of Wisdom."
And over to Google.
Sure, playing Wisdom and Folly, foregrounds on you.
Weird.
Fuck you, Google.
Shut up, Google. We'll get copyright strikes. Okay, and there we have it.
Google is such
A clever,
absolute
great
horror.
Robo. So over to your last one. What genre are we in? What form? What medium?
This is my film. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
a feature such as this only deserves greatness. So I have, of course, plucked for one of objectively the greatest films of all time.
And you're something of a file, a cinephile, I should clarify, but we just call it a file.
Yeah.
in casual parlance.
We like that around here. Isaac, as you know, big fan of portmanteaus and abbreviations of any kind.
Yeah.
When I was thinking of the style for this, I was thinking about the sort of real fundamental absurdity that underlies the premise of the film,
Okay.
and yet how we all go along with that. And so I have decided to write it in the style of a famous absurdist poem.
Is it on the Ning Nang Nong?
No.
I don't want to hear it. I just don't.
Thanks for listening. No, so here we are.
Okay.
This is it. As I said, it's not very difficult. I shouldn't think.
Okay. I might try and get it wrong anyway.
Okay, perfect. That's probably quite funny. We've
Yeah,
done that
I'll
once or
do.
twice,
I'll do a
but,
bit of comedy.
You know,
about
you
it.
don't want to.
I'll be like, "Is it the Bible again?"
Some would say you'd be over-egging that one.
No, they'd be wrong.
So here we go. The
Good
story.
luck. Sorry, just wanted to get
Sorry,
my good luck in
I'd
there.
already started.
I know, but if
so
you didn't have the luck before the poem, then
I've
maybe it
got
would
it
have gone
now.
wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. So good luck.
Do you want, I'm just going to leave.
What's the
5
title of the-
seconds. I won't be telling you because the title of the poem is the title of the film.
Oh, that's not very creative.
No.
Okay.
No, but then again, we're not seemingly because you've done that for all of yours.
Oh, unlikely. No, I just didn't want to tell you my titles to embarrass you. Okay. Best of luck with the poem. Over to you, Declan Delane. Go.
The story you're about to hear is of a downbeat man who, when the world said, "No, you can't," replied with, "Yes, I can." And also, incidentally, he drove a horrid van. He had no job to call his own, but lots of bills to pay. So one day, picking up the phone, he felt the urge to say that yes, that name was his for sure. He'd be there right away. The interview was short and sweet. Our hero got the job. The background checks were lacking, so they gladly hired this slob, with just a little magic from our hero's lying gob.
Oh no.
Discovering that his charges, subordinates to the lot, were talented beyond his dreams, our man began to plot. Revenge, he thought, would soon be his, against the law or not. The time has come, our hero cried, to bless the gods of song. We'll take a stand, guitars in hand, so nothing can go wrong. With me to lead this merry band, success will not take long. He formed from them a supergroup, a music troupe of sorts, a righteous rocking army built from musical cohorts, and in between rehearsals he would fake their school reports. But soon, despite precautions, their plans were all found out, and our hero's credibility was soon called into doubt. As for revenge, it looked as though he'd have to go without.
Oh no.
But as he lay asleeping, he was woken by the fuss of children who chastised him and had no time to discuss. He had to come with them, they said, for they'd commandeered a bus. The time has come, our hero cried, to bless the gods of song. We'll take a stand, guitars in hand, so nothing can go wrong. With me to lead this merry band, success will not take long. So off they went to play their song and put on quite the show, and although they didn't win, it was sufficient just to know that the drudgery of schoolwork was a life they could forego. Our hero thanked his plucky band and sent them on their way, and begged the gods of rock and roll to guide them every day. But how that man avoided jail, no one can really say. So take with you, if nothing else, this lesson from their set. Their song contained a simple plea, which none should e'er forget. Rock hard, rock long, and never quit, or be the teacher's pet.
Very nice poem there. Very nice indeed. And it's sent me spiralling down memory lane. Memory Avenue, really, because it was
Yeah.
so long and straight.
Goodness
And
me.
I was knocking on the doors of all these different houses labelled musical kid films.
Yep.
Or alternatively, films starring kid musicians.
Okay.
I started
And what did you find?
with The Sound of Music, and I was thinking, wow, all this fits. Guitar, rocking out to Edelweiss, obviously, but the lack of discussion, I suppose, of nuns or nannies.
Or Nazis.
Or Nazis, the three N's, as I've always regarded.
And you've been warned against calling them that, but
By
bless
my own
him,
mum.
he still goes on.
Obviously, I had to rule that one out.
Yeah, no, you were right to do so.
I thought next of, other films in which children are cajoled into performing. I was thinking about Gypsy, not really a film, although you could have done the film and pulled a kind of wild card that I wouldn't have accepted, and neither would the listeners, and you would have been lynched for. Not literally.
That's why I changed it at the last minute from the film of Gypsy.
Clever. You'd have been chased off the internet for that. And I landed, of course, with both feet firmly in the hallowed halls of whatever that school's called.
Horace Green.
Horace Green. The School of Rocks.
That's them. You've
School
got it.
of Rocks. And there we have it, listeners. 10 poems, each more exceptional than the first. For you to enjoy. Perhaps you'd like to send in your poem version of some media property for us to guess. Ooh. I'm a big fan of the riddle and a great big fan of reading poems on our show. That's tass@shame.city. Maybe... What were you about to say?
I was going to say, we did get an email, didn't we?
Oh, we did, and I'm coming to it.
Thank
but
goodness.
before then, maybe we've, in reading these poems out, the author's dead these days.
Yeah.
It's really not up to us what these poems are about. So if you have listened to those poems and had, before we said our own revelations, what we intended them to be about, your own guess, maybe you found that my Pong poem somehow applies perfectly to a game with more than
The Last
4
of
letters
Us.
in its title, World of Warcraft, The Mists of Pandaria, then get in touch, explain how we are wrong and you are right. tass@shame.city. One such shame citizen has done just that, and this is based on last week's excellent episode, Hang the DJ, in which we tried out the feature, whatever the hell we called it, where we come up with great new features for the show. This is Toby Milestones King. Given how intelligent I know him to be, I'm always amazed at how unfathomably bad Isaac is at coming up with features. Now, this is not so much a praise sandwich as it is
a criticism,
a kind of
slap in the face.
Praise Mars bar, but you forgot to put the chocolate coating on. Intelligent, sure, unfathomably bad, on the other hand. He sounds like he's been slamming his head against a wall for a solid hour. Some nonsense about spinning around in circles, don't remember that one, or having a cult child.
The Dizzy Rascals.
Oh, yes. Or having a cult child does not a good feature make, you little goblin, he continues. The only vaguest shade of praise, and I'm going to have to query this because I find this to be ultimately the goal of all good art, the only vaguest shade of praise I can offer him is that weird feature about Uncle was so absurdist and odd, it made me feel strangely sick on the train. So, good job? Question mark.
That is good. That's something you've always wanted to do, specifically to Toby,
But-
with any and all of your artistic endeavours.
I think that is the hallmark of great art. If I come out of a play and I'm sick in the street, maybe on a rickshaw driver's back, then I know that I've seen some quality play.
You don't want to be doing it at the rickshaw driver because Bram will be along any second
Does he protect?
to fuck you up.
I didn't know they were all in league together. I
Yeah,
guess,
no, he's big.
based on what, just having wheels.
Yeah, it's a big community, the wheel community.
Fair. So yeah, tass@shame.city is the place to email us with any thoughts, feedback,
If you've got any names to call Isaac,
yeah, please always preface them with "given how intelligent I know him to be," and I'll definitely read it and filter out the bad bit in favour of a kind of revised view of what you really meant, because I'll interpret that on your behalf. We've got a whole bunch other ways of getting in touch, but before we tell you about them, it's time to mention Declan, social media manager for the show.
Yep.
A Tass Motion, which is taking the world by storm. On you go.
sorry, I thought just making
Taking the world by storm.
making sure you didn't have any luck to offer me
Good
before
luck.
I start.
No,
Thanks.
sorry.
Brilliant. That's
My bad.
brilliant. We are doing a Patreon shame motion, which is short for Shame City Promotion.
Yeah. Don't patronise our listeners.
You just got to make sure, because this is a plea, and we don't want it to look like we're sort of
Elitist.
going over their heads with something like this. We have ordered.
Yeah.
And indeed have received.
Let's say we've created and designed, because that's true and sounds better than ordered. Like we've just kicked some poor person in a developing country into making some
that is
stickers for
probably
us.
what happened.
They're actually printed in the UK.
Oh, brilliant. So they're poor people who are having to do it here.
Oh, yeah.
Exploited on our own
Absolutely.
turf.
The only way to do it.
That's the best way. That's how I like it. So some stickers.
Yeah.
And buttons.
Yeah. The badge is arriving
badges.
this week. The stickers, you've got 3 different exclusive designs, never before seen by any of us.
Apart from anyone who's been on the Twitter.
Yeah, but they haven't seen them in person. That 2D representation really doesn't capture the glory of these
You've
stickers.
seen them, though.
They are professional vinyl stickers. They're hardy as you like. There's one here on my laptop.
Yep.
And it's been out now for like 5 or 6 days.
Do you donate to the Patreon?
Yeah, all the time. I don't see a scratch on it. So this is a hardy sticker. This is a sticker that will see you out of any situation you happen to be in.
Now, are you going to get these stickers just for listening to the show?
Oh, God, no. Let me stress.
Sweet Jesus.
There is
definitely not
less probable in this earth than a freeloading listener like you receiving even so much as a sniff of the adhesive.
So much as a well wish.
No, although you can. They're very easy to get for the whole rest of February. And you know what? We might extend it. We might bring it back this year, but that's up to us. We're capricious, mercurial gods. I didn't mean to say the gods bit out loud.
Yeah. I thought it might have slipped from beneath the mask.
Till the end of February or the beginning of March, whatever way you like to think about it, if you become one of our 3 top patron tiers, starting at just $5 a month, for the 4 episodes that you get, plus 3 extra quickfire shames each and every month, you will receive an exclusive TAS sticker pack with a badge for good luck. in the
Badge
post.
singular.
Single badge,
cannot
multiple
stress
stickers.
that enough.
Will be
singular badge.
The badges look hot as hell, though. They haven't arrived yet, but if the
I'm so
design is
excited.
even...
I'm going to wear 7 of them.
Yeah, all the time. I'm going to put them all over like every different outfit that I have, so I never have to transfer it. We've got a whole lot of them. Some would say an optimistic amount of these things ordered, but we're going to keep them in reserve for when we need them. So all you have to do is go over to patreon.com/shamecity and either adjust your pledge if you're already one of our valued patrons to one of the new tiers that we've set up to kind of simplify and restructure the Patreon. Or if you've never donated before, consider signing up now. You get at least 3 bonus episodes, which are little quickfire shames every month. If you sign up to a higher tier, you get a full episode of the month in shame at the end of each and every month. There's all sorts of other extra shit there. You're going to love it. Patreon.com/shamecity. Get on board the stickers and badge hype.
Well done. Yeah.
We've got a whole other lot of ways to get in touch.
Oh
though,
my
don't
God.
we?
Well, you've mentioned email already, tas@shame.city. We've
Yeah.
mentioned the Patreon already, patreon.com/shamecity.
Yeah.
You can also get in touch via the contact form on the website. That'll be shame.city/contact.
Very handy.
Head on over there to just have a little browse to shame.city generally.
Yeah, you
through all of the artwork.
You won't realise how foul our episodes sound until you see a whole lot of them in a row.
Yeah, till you just look at them, look at the artwork.
Yeah.
You read some of the descriptions.
And you think, why did I allow this
listen to this
my life?
cursed show?
Yeah, it's fair.
You can get in touch via Twitter. The show can be found at That's a Shamecast. Isaac can be found at IsaacBD.
Very
and
good
I can be
tweets.
found at DE Delane.
Yeah, are you gesturing over to me now?
I was just saying, very good tweets as
Right,
well.
I
I was
see,
just
yeah.
waiting.
Yeah, very good
You just
tweets for
forgot.
Declan.
Yeah,
I did
that's
forget.
fine.
Sorry about that. One great way to help the
fine,
show
yeah.
in a non-financial sense. Say you don't have the means at the moment. We've all been there. I, in fact, am there right now.
Believe you
Declan
me.
times 2. One thing you can do that really helps us is spread the word. And we have this phrase here at Shame City that word of mouth is best of mouth. And that means that the words that you eject from your gaping mouth hole of praise for the show, of recommendation to those you love or fear or cherish or just happen to be nearby geographically and proximally, they are the best words you can offer, because a recommendation from a trusted source is the best way to find out about a podcast that does no advertising otherwise. One such person we'd like to shout out this week is Kangaroo, our great big pal on Twitter, at Big Grey Wallaby. Give him a follow.
Grey with an A.
Yeah, well, why not? Who did a lovely, unprompted, as far as I know, unless you've been threatening him in DMs.
Unprompted in that sense, yes. But also, we have asked listeners to do this at the end of every single one of about 110 episodes.
But he decided to tweet recommendation for the show, got a few people liking it. He also put down some of his favourite episodes of all time, which is actually nice very helpful, because we're in the long process of putting together a kind of best of that we can, I don't know, really sell the show to other people with. Be like, oh, if you like this 5 minutes, you might like the rest. So knowing what stuff you like is all very helpful.
Also very helpful, because I don't remember a single fucking thing we've said on this godforsaken show.
So anything you can do in that regard, much appreciated. Tag us at That's a Shamecast, and we will love you for all eternity. Until episode 133, I've been Isaac, you've been...
I have been Declan.
We'll see you real soon.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Necessities, the bare necessities, the bare necessities of life will come to you.